Thank you, sir. Before we get into the presentation, we want to remind the postgraduates once again, the presentation time will be only 8 minutes. Above 8 minutes, there will be a negative marking. So stick to your time, please. So first of all, we would like to call Dr. Ankan Paul from Sri Balaji Medical College, Chennai. Dr. Ankan Paul, are you online?
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Ankan Paul? So please see to
Yes,
that
sir.
this connectivity is stable. So your
Vinod, Vinod, be sure that the judges are online.
yes, sir. The judges, all of them are online, sir.
What?
Shanmugam, sir. Shanmugam, yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, there.
Purna ma'am and Purna ma'am?
Yeah.
Yes. Purna ma'am and Shanmugam, yes, sir. Both of them are online,
Yes,
sir.
I can hear you.
Dr. Vikas, sir, is physically here, sir.
Sir, I don't see. Sir is here, huh?
Dr. Vikas is physically present here in the hall. The third judge is present inside the hall physically with us, sir.
Okay.
Camera or Shanti.
Okay, carry on.
The third judge is here inside the hall. And the two.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah, can we start, sir?
Yes,
Yes, sir. So,
we can start.
Dr. Ankan Paul, you can start. Your time starts now.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon to the esteemed judges and the august gathering. Today I am here to present before you the psychometric properties and outcome of the validation study for Psychiatry Associated Services Tracking Inquiry, abbreviated as PASTE, henceforth referred as PASTE. I am Dr. Ankan Paul, the author, and my co-authors are Dr. Lakshmi Prabha, Dr. Rajkumar, and Dr. S. Nambi. Satisfaction can be defined. Satisfaction can be defined as a condition of a need or a desire being fulfilled. It is satisfaction happens, and then patient has happiness or contentment. So we can say that the patient approaches us, they have a desire to get better. They want to seek the best possible treatment. The caregiver of the patient also wants to see their family members being alleviated of their problems. So we can say that the patient and the caregiver actually seek satisfaction. So in recent times, patient satisfaction and caregiver satisfaction, including caregiver burden, has been a driving force behind improvement in healthcare. The question naturally arises as to how do we quantify these aspects of healthcare, particularly in psychiatry. Unfortunately, when we talk of combining these both aspects in a single instrument, it is pretty few. Hence, we intend to fill this gap by presenting PASTE. The aim of our study was to validate this instrument as an instrument for quantifying patient satisfaction and caregiver satisfaction. The objectives of the study were to develop an instrument combining quantifiable measurement of patient satisfaction and caregiver satisfaction, to assess the reliability and validity of the instrument through a pilot study, and to assess levels of patient and caregiver satisfaction with emphasis on domain segments like accessibility, communication, behavior, economical effectiveness, and general satisfaction. The methodology of the study was as follows. We started by receiving inputs from psychiatric professionals. Then we received inputs from patients who were not part of the pilot study to avoid bias. Review of available literature was done, and the items were formulated for the instrument. Finally, after seeking approval from the Institutional Ethical Committee, we conducted a pilot study with 50 patient and caregiver pairs for validation, and statistical analysis of the data was done. The instruments used in the study were basic demographic proforma and psychiatry associated services tracking inquiry designed by us, and the patient satisfaction questionnaire 18, developed by Grant D. Marshall and Ron D. Hayes, was used as a gold standard to assess convergent validity again. It is important to mention here that PSU 18 was only administered to the patients as it is meant to be. The study was designed as a longitudinal study. Systematic sampling technique was employed to select 50 patient and caregiver pairs for the pilot study. Participants who willingly signed the consent form and were over 18 years of age were made part of the study. The setting of the study was the outpatient department of the Department of Psychiatry, Medical College in Chennai. The steps of the pilot study were, as mentioned earlier, systematic sampling technique was used to select 50 patient and caregiver pairs as participants. On initial OPD visit, consent was obtained from participants. PASTE and PSQ 18 were administered after seeking basic demographic details. On next OPD visit, PASTE was administered again. Analysis of the data was done and results were published and conclusion arrived at. It is important to mention here that by initial visit and next visit, we don't mean the first and the second visit to the OPD, since in case of first visit, certain aspects of satisfaction cannot be measured, and these were patients who were seeking treatment for some time. So PACE is an instrument consisting of 10 items divided into two parts. Items 1 to 5 constitute PACE P, which is to be administered to the patient. They are: how satisfied are you by the registration process for consulting a psychiatrist at the hospital? How satisfied, comfortable are you with the waiting time for consulting a psychiatrist at the hospital? How satisfied are you with the behavior of the nursing staff and auxiliary staff at the hospital? How satisfied are you with the behavior of the psychiatrist at the hospital? And how satisfied are you by the psychiatric treatment you received at the hospital? Items 6 to 10 are to be administered to the caregivers known as PACE T. They are: how satisfied are you with the support and assistance provided to you at the Department of Psychiatry at the hospital? How satisfied are you with the counseling received in regards to how to manage the patient in and out of the hospital? How satisfied are you with the behavior of the nursing staff and auxiliary staff at the hospital? How satisfied are you with the behavior of the psychiatrist at the hospital? And how satisfied are you with the overall experience at the Department of Psychiatry, including quality of patient treatment? There were 5 domain segments identified in PACE, which was verified using factor analysis with varimax rotation. These 5 domain segments accounted for more than 95% of the variances against a desirable limit of 85%. The 5 domain segments were under a single domain of satisfaction. There is an overlap of domain segments for certain items. The domain segments and the respective item numbers have been mentioned here. Accessibility items 1 and 2, communication item 7, behavior items 3, 4, 8, and 9, economical effectiveness item 5 and 10, and general satisfaction items 1, 5, 6, and 10. The scoring for PACE, each item is scored from 0 to 10, 0 being not at all satisfied and 10 being completely satisfied, with 5 representing neither satisfied nor dissatisfied. The minimum possible score is 0 and the maximum possible score is 100. Possible range of scores on both components of PACE, P and C, is 0 to 50. Overall PACE scores are a cumulative score of responses for each item on the inventory, with scores representing quality of services. But it is important to mention here that quality of services is only a secondary outcome of PACE scores, which are primarily meant to measure patient and caregiver satisfaction. The results of the study, the mean score on PACE and the mean score for patients and caregivers, indicate a high level of patient satisfaction and caregiver satisfaction, along with excellent quality of services, which we strive for. We were able to keep the standard error of the mean to a minimal of 3.93%. Internal consistency was measured using Cronbach's alpha. Alpha for items administered to patients was 0.95. And alpha for items administered to caregivers were 0.96, both showing external internal consistency. No statistically significant difference was found with regards to scores based on gender, age, or duration of treatment, but it is an extremely significant result in our case because we don't intend a scale meant to measure patient satisfaction and caregiver satisfaction to be biased based on gender, age, or duration of treatment. Spearman's coefficient was used to assess convergent validity of the items administered to the patients against PSQ18 with a rho of 0.95 and a significant p-value of 0.001. This means that PACE is a comparable measure of patient satisfaction against PSQ18. Ultimately, we could not find a good enough scale to measure caregiver satisfaction against. The Pearson's coefficient was used to assess test-to-test reliability with a R of 0.99 and an extremely significant p-value of less than 0.00001. This means that there wasn't much variation between the PACE scores on the initial visit and the next visit, which is intended of the scale. Finally, arriving at the conclusions, the results of the pilot study give accreditation to PACE as a reliable, internally consistent, and valid instrument in assessing patient satisfaction and caregiver satisfaction. PACE is probably the first instrument which quantitatively measures and combines. PACE can be easily adopted and used for other specialties of healthcare and to assess satisfaction in general. And the future directions of the study, there's a study with the largest sample size to compare satisfaction amongst various psychiatric diagnosis groups. A comparative study between various clinical specialties has been executed using PACE. PACE can be used as a time-effective measure of satisfaction as it requires less than 3 minutes to administer. And PACE would serve as an indicator of satisfaction and would help institutions further improve their services. We have talked about patient satisfaction and caregiver satisfaction, but what does satisfaction mean for us healthcare professionals? What does it mean for us psychiatrists? I would like to end with a quote. Working for success will make you a master, but working for satisfaction will make you a legend. You have been a lovely audience. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Can we ask?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, Dr. Ankat, it was a very nice study, the paste in Balaji. I just have one or two queries. So in your satisfaction scale, you said about behavior of the psychiatrist.
Yes.
So what do you mean by behavior of the psychiatrist?
Whether